What's going on, everybody? Today is Wednesday, October 30th, episode 9 of Picks and Parlays. And we're a man down. We got no Big Magsy. He's got absolutely no honor. And his biggest college football matchup of the year coming up this week, and the Yankees down 3-1. I had a thing written up if we did yesterday because it was 3-0. But he's doing the wisdom teeth excuse. He got a whittle puffy cheeks. He can't do the podcast.
Yeah. Got a few fucking teeth pulled, and this guy's running away from the grind.
He's a fucking coward. He's gonna show up to the next pod with a child or something, like pull a Sirianni in the press conference.
He's gonna bring that Olaf with him.
If the Yanks were up 3-1, he'd be here. I can tell you that much right now.
Mm-hmm. He needs to defend his the fans in the stands. What's the guy? Bocat or Capo?
I think Gulag was his name.
I saw something with Gronk that Gronk said that he knew that guy in college and they were friends.
Yeah, I just saw that video on Twitter.
He was a University of Arizona hockey player, which is an oxymoron, but
that guy's look is just unbelievable. He's just, what a fucking guy. Just what a guy. He was battling for that baseball.
Oh yeah. That's not even something like, sometimes guys in games do little things and you're like, why don't they think that they're gonna get caught with all the cameras and everything? There's no way they're in hell that they would have thought that would somehow scrape by. That was the most blatant, ridiculous thing.
The wrist grab is what really gets me.
He looks like someone that would work for, like, the Penguin. Like, he looked like one of his Goonies. That's just what I was thinking of when I saw him.
He's one of the henchmen that, in the Batman video games, you just swoop in and then you two-piece him, and then he...
Yeah.
It does the, like, crumbling rock noise, and he just falls over.
The video you were talking about with Gronk, he's like, that guy's awesome, like, I love it, like, and you could tell that the lady interviewing him was... Like, they didn't want him to condone that because it's just not good for everything. And he's like, oh, no, of course I don't. Like, I don't know if they held up, like, on the hot mic or whatever in his ear. They're like, no, I don't, that should never happen or whatever. But
yeah, also, I feel like it's so, obviously Arizona is also a party school, but I feel like Gronk going to Arizona instead of Arizona State is a crazy thing, considering he's like the party NFL guy.
It was right there in front of him, as Booney would say.
Yeah, and I definitely don't think it was like a getting into school thing.
No.
Because I think it's pretty fucking easy to get in there, isn't it?
I would imagine.
Yeah. It's like there in West Virginia, the two that I've always heard are like, like immediate yes kind of things. I
got a full ride to West Virginia. I forget how much it is. It was total, but yeah, it was like 85% scholarship.
They're like, I'll give you a couple grand to just come here.
Yeah.
They wanted someone with good, like, grades in high school to go to their school.
They need more the likes of you.
It's kind of like, so when I tried to walk on at Penn State, there's a kicker who was a senior, and everybody was saying that he made the team every single year in the spring because he had a 4.0 GPA, and then before the actual season rolled around, they would cut him. So he would bring up the average of their team GPA, and I talked to him about it. It was legit. He got cut every year, but he made it every year in the spring. At that point, I guess it's just he knew what he was doing. He's like, all right, go ahead and use me. I don't care.
He's probably like there long enough to, like, get cool, like, shit, at least.
I was going to say, he's probably got gear.
Yeah,
for sure. I mean, if he just missed his time. If he was there right now or a couple months ago, he would have been on the fucking team. But this young lefty he's doing all right for us. So
yeah, I was going to ask that. First of all, why do they always have to be lefties? I can't tell
don't understand
if it's the good guy coming in to kick or the shitty guy.
No. And the Sahedek, the guy who lost his job. Well, first of all, he missed a bunch of kicks last year in the beginning of the season to lose his job. Then he came in this year and lost his job. I think he was the number one kicker in the country when we got him. So I think kind of like the NFL with running backs, like maybe just go rent a cheap one or whatever. That's the strategy in college football now is get an established kicker out of the transfer portal instead of using up a scholarship on a guy right away.
That's what I would do. I think kicker is one of those where you're not trying. It's not like quarterback where you're trying to like hit on a big recruit. Like, oh, if you could land a 5-star quarterback, you could be set for like 3 years. For kickers, it's just like obviously you want a good one, but I feel like the difference between say a guy who's like fringe top 10 and a guy who's like top 50, it's probably not that different in college.
Yeah,
Maybe 50 is wrong because I feel
yeah,
like it's
50's
it's
long,
it's
but
skewing more towards like there actually being good kickers in college. But yeah, like the difference if you don't have a great one, the difference between 50 and 100 maybe is like not
well,
that much.
that's why it's so crazy to me. And kickers are super important. I'm not like discrediting that at all, but it's the Jim Harbaugh thing where he slept on the floor at that kicker's house or whatever. That's crazy because like
Yeah,
I mean in college football 25, imagine spending 24 hours of your recruiting
sending
allotment
the house.
to your kicker. Yeah.
Sending the house and contacting the friends and family on a kicker.
Mhm.
Fucking max out the 75 and just, I need
Yeah.
this guy.
Yeah. But that's a kind of smooth, easy segue into the Penn State matchup if we're ready for that.
Yeah, how do you guys feel?
Is Drew Aller playing? If he's playing, I, I feel decent. I feel better than I felt in the past, like five
Yeah,
years.
he was a full participant today at practice, and they definitely made sure to have video of that, which is kind of making me think in a direction that I was talking about with my brothers. Like Wisconsin didn't really plan for Bo. Like we have those packages that he goes in, but we've been kind of doing that with quarterbacks for years. It's almost like maybe we have Aller participate in practice all week, like play, whatever he's gonna play on Saturday, and then we come out and have Bo play like the first half if they didn't prepare for him, and then they're like, oh yeah, Aller's actually good for the set. I don't know because I think I went into last year's game feeling more confident. I mean, Drew wasn't very good, but it just this one always makes me nervous, and I'm not too ashamed to say it. Obviously, it's Ohio State, and I'd get clowned by them, but I don't know, just always makes me nervous. Got to figure out the first half stuff.
Yeah, I think like the first halves of like every game have been just brutal. And then the second half, we just come out and stomp on people's throats like every single game. So I
Yeah,
don't like I saw some stuff where like, oh, Bo played better. Like he had a good half, but like it's almost a different offense with him in there that
yeah.
Wisconsin didn't, like you said, they didn't really prepare for. And along with the fact that we're just every second half has been fucking awesome all year, basically. And the first halves have all sucked.
Yeah, he was propped up by playing with second half Penn State, and Drew Aller was held down by playing with first half Penn State.
Yeah.
Well, that's I feel like most games it's been our defense that was kind of the issue, and years past our offense sputters for the first couple quarters or whatever. But this Wisconsin game made me feel a little bit better that Tom Allen. I mean, what was it? Held him to 13 points by the end of it, or 15. I forget at this point,
13.
but it was like, oh yeah, Lewis was there by the way. It felt like he actually did his job this time because every single game it had been our defense supposed to be really good, really stout defense. Kind of sucks in the first half. He figures it out. Not going to work against good opponents. Whereas this one was defense was good the whole way through. The offense kind of sputtered, which you don't want to see. But then when you factor in you had a quarterback injury, and like that's kind of the fluky part of that game, it makes me feel a little bit better. So
I I think I texted this in the group chat. I think we fuck around too much in the first half. Like
yeah,
Kotelnicki, I love how creative he is, but like I think in the first half of every game we've just fucked around so much that like
yeah,
there's no even when like we're going on a drive, it feels like there's no rhythm because we're doing so much different shit like every single play. And then the second half is like every game has been more of like line it up and go. And that's what's worked. So like I like that we throw different shit at people every week, like new shit every week. But maybe like throw the new shit out there. That's great. Maybe like not every fucking play has to be
Yeah,
new shit in the first half of every game.
yeah. And they threw the ball combined 31 times, whereas the week previously, I think Alley threw 40 something times, or against I forget who it was, UCLA or USC or whatever. But uh, I think we just need to throw the ball a lot more. We bring in this high powered OC who played in the big or coached in the Big 12, had to throw the ball all over the field, was successful with it. I know it's against different defenses, but and then they come to Penn State and we go up a score or two, and it's like run, 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 punt. It's ridiculous. It's like I know that we kind of like bleed the clock and that's kind of our style, but I'd like to see us actually step on the throat a little bit more. Like pass on first down with a 2-score lead against Ohio State, especially if somehow by the grace of God we get in that position.
Yeah.
That's not Big Ten football though.
It is now the good teams in Big
Yeah,
Ten.
it
I mean, if you look
actually
at
is.
Michigan, Ohio State, yeah, and Oregon. I also want to talk about because Lewis, like this one's kind of just like the Will Howard interview. Everybody's talking about it, obviously, but did you see that?
Yeah, okay, yeah, you said something
Yeah.
about this. Is it the thing where he was like, "Yeah, I was a Penn State fan. I always wanted to go there, and then they didn't think I was good enough, so now we'll see if I was."
Yeah.
I don't think that's crazy. I mean, I know that you guys have to be anti him,
Well,
but
it's
I
not
don't,
crazy, but
yeah, I don't think it's crazy. Also, the team he's playing for didn't want him either.
that's exactly. And they recruit Pennsylvania really well. Like Kyle McCord, quarterbacks. Kyle McCord passed over us. He was playing in Philadelphia in high school. Passed over us to go to Ohio State. Um, so like people have that where it's like, oh, it's his hometown team or whatever, which I understand. But like Corey said, Ohio State passed over him, and Drew Aller's from Ohio also. So like he kind of has the exact same story going back, but it feels like he just kind of pressed the I have a chip on my shoulder button and wants to act like that's this big whatever. And Kansas State didn't try very hard to keep him there, and that's Kansas State.
yeah, I don't disagree. I
Yeah,
do think it's like that is definitely something I would make fun of if I was a fan.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and if they win, he's gonna act like, oh, I deserve to be there. But it's like he still probably wouldn't have been our recruit at that time because he was a 3-star, and it would have been what Sean. So like he was a 4-star and actually recruited for our program. So I don't.
Yeah, you can't do the thing where if you were if you're a second round pick, right? Like if Will Levis would have did the same thing, where he's projected to be a first and probably an early first based on his position, and then he goes in the second. He can't just show up one week and be like, "This team fucking passed on me," and we're gonna.
Yeah,
It's like nobody wanted you. Actually, every single team passed on
Yeah.
you. Like you went to play for
yeah,
a mid Big 12 team.
yeah.
What the
Yep.
fuck? Yeah, everybody passed on you. You could say that to every single team in the Big Ten. It's a regional conference, and everybody didn't want you.
Like I wonder. I mean, I didn't do the research, but like if he played Pitt, would he say the same thing? If he played, I mean, I'd assume Temple probably gave him a scholarship,
That's what I was
but
going to say something about Rutgers, and I was like, "There's no way they didn't offer him."
yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm nervous. I'm excited for this game every year, and but I was there the last time we won.
It's also going to be super annoying because if they beat us and he goes on his victory lap, which he can do, it's people aren't like afraid of Will Howard. They're afraid of everything around Will Howard.
Exactly.
That,
Yeah.
yeah. So, I mean, it is what it is.
Just been trying to think of his NFL comparison, and it makes me Well, it's
Kenny
probably
Pickett.
or Tua. Tua looks good throwing to Tyreek and Waddle, but
Yeah.
You did mention Pitt in there. That's the only other ranked versus ranked matchup is they play SMU this weekend
SMU
at SMU.
good value plus 220, right? Money line.
I actually think that of their remaining games, it feels like a winnable one because like Syracuse definitely felt like a this is the one that you drop kind of thing. But this
Yeah.
is playing a ranked team on the road. You're undefeated, but people aren't really believing you. This feels like a pat on the back. The haters were right about this one, but no, I think they'll prove the haters wrong, and then right after that, I forget the order of their. If they go into Clemson undefeated, that would be great
I would
because they're
love
going to
for
get
you to
smashed
beat
by Clemson.
Clemson. I would love for
No,
you to be. I know that one's out, might be out of reach, but um, I would love for you to beat Clemson just to like big root for Chaos Guy as far as the playoff goes.
well, if Pete, yeah, we have West Virginia or not West Virginia, we have Virginia at home, and then we play Clemson. So if we do beat Clemson, we're just going to the ACC championship, and Clemson's not, and they probably miss the
Yeah.
playoff. So that would be
That'd
kind
be
of sick.
so-
I
Actually,
I'm
they
just
might.
looking at the lines for college, like some of the college football games. Um, it's not a ranked versus ranked, but Illinois is at home. They're 2.5 point underdogs against Minnesota. Illinois is number 24. I mostly thought of this because I feel like they've been ranked 24th for a month,
Yeah,
and that's all. That's all that
they,
I don't really care about that game. Other than that,
I think they peaked at like 21 or 20. I think when they played you guys, they were like 20.
ever they played, yeah, it was like whenever they played Penn State was their peak. And I feel like they've just been, I don't even know what they've been doing out there. They've just been playing shitty football games and they've just been hanging out at 24th, and that's it. And that was
yeah,
talking Illini.
talking Illini.
Yeah, I, on paper, last time I said this or we said this, it ended up being a great week actually. But I feel like this is a kind of low stakes week. There's like Louisville at Clemson, Kentucky at Tennessee, or probably like, and then that game that you just said are kind of the semi interesting ones, other than the ranked versus ranked
Yeah,
Florida, Georgia. I wish that game had some
line.
juice, but it doesn't really.
one like
No,
the not to bring up the Penn State Ohio State game again, but like a matchup inside of the top five, top four is obviously a big game, but it's in terms of playoff implications, it's not that huge. Like if both teams run the table with one loss and ours being Ohio State, it's not, we still have a very reasonable path and easy path to the playoffs still. So it's just kind of,
yeah,
I mean, if Ohio State drops this one, Indiana's not easy either. And I think they have them in a couple weeks, which
mm-hmm.
I'm pretty excited for that game to see how legitimate Indiana actually is.
So
yeah,
I think this game's not like that huge for not necessarily huge for playoff implications if Penn State loses, but if Penn State wins, I like Ohio State, they're gonna have to like it's gonna come down to their Indiana game, but they won't be in the conference title game. They're not really gonna have a win to hang their hats on other than like Indiana
Yeah.
if they beat Indiana, but like that's gonna be like on paper, sure, that's like they're a good team, but
mm-hmm.
I feel like if they drop this game and they finish 10-2 or whatever, and you look at their resume throughout like the year, at the end of the year, you're gonna be like, yeah,
they'll
that's
end
not
up
like crazy.
they'll end up as like 9 or 10, and
Yeah,
then they'll make the semifinals. They'll upset somebody in that like
They're,
round of eight.
yeah.
the scenarios that they have with the SEC talking about like people talking about the likelihood of a potential three-loss SEC school making it in, or there's going to be a bunch of two-loss SEC schools because a bunch of these guys still have to play each other. A&M has some opportunity to lose. Tennessee has an opportunity to lose again. I think Georgia's probably trying to look at their schedule here, but
It's gonna get
um,
messy because
they play
there's a
Tennessee.
couple teams that are gonna be that could end up with one loss. Like A&M, I know they're undefeated, but like if
A&M
I
has a
think of
loss.
oh
Notre
sorry, they're
Dame,
undefeated in conference. Sorry,
yeah, in
sorry,
conference, yeah.
yeah. So right, so if they lose to Texas, they're probably bounced actually. So never mind. Fuck me.
Do you think a two-loss Ohio State team? Let's say that my dreams come true, and finally Penn State is the juggernaut, and we have an undefeated season. Really, the most notable win would be Ohio State, um, and then they lose to us, and they have a loss to us in Oregon. Let's say that us and Oregon finish in the top four. Is that Are they over? If there's multiple two-loss SEC schools that have like their losses come to Georgia, between Georgia, Alabama, and Texas?
So they would beat Indiana in this scenario.
Yeah,
I think they would still get in. I think they'd be in the middle of that, where there would be some two-loss SEC schools that get in above them, and they would probably get in ahead of. I think they'd get in ahead of like the A&Ms and LSU's of the world, and I think that they would not. They would be in, but not ahead of Georgia or Texas lost again. Like,
yeah. So Texas, Georgia, and then the rest of the SEC is kind of just where
yeah,
we're
or
at.
like Bama would be ahead of them. I think.
I'd say, yeah, because they're not going to have a win as good as Bama's
Right.
Georgia
Yeah.
win. But their two losses, I think both would be like against at the time they played the number three team in the country.
Yeah. I mean, if you have a one loss or a 1 point loss to the number one team in the country,
Yeah.
that's does that even really count as a loss on your resume? Yes, but you know.
Yeah, but yeah. Yeah, and I think like this game, if Penn State wins it, it's going to like, come down to the end of the game, like be within a score. So like if you have two within one score losses to top five teams at the time that you played them, like I don't the tough thing is the rest of their schedule. They're not going to have like a super impressive win.
That's a thing that I feel like more people need to use that argument of what I just said, where if you have okay, say A&M, I need a better example of this, but if they were actually undefeated and they lost to Texas, right? Say they lost
Yeah.
by 14 to Texas or 20 to Texas, and they had one loss and they're sizing themselves up against a two-loss Ohio State. They're like, one loss SEC, how are we not ahead of them? It's like, you didn't play Oregon. Like, if you
Yeah.
went and played Oregon, you would also have that loss, and it would be worse than a point. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
I nobody can. I feel like that's the thing too is the value of like we've said. Oh, a two-loss SEC school that actually loses value. That in the Big Ten, I think, for as how much stronger they got at the top. I get that, but you can't just say, oh, like Indiana is not a one. If they lose to just Ohio State, they're not a one-loss Big Ten school. Like I know that they have played really well, and I don't want to understate that because I actually do think that if the playoffs started today, they should be in.
I'd
But
be scared to play them like
right,
tomorrow.
but they're not. It's not a one-loss Big Ten school because you don't play. You're not playing 80% of the Big Ten. You're playing like half the Big Ten, and they kind of got lucky with with how their schedule rolled out, whereas Ohio State definitely did not. So it's not a direct comparison between the two of them, but
That's the other thing is Ohio State, if they lose to Penn State, that's going to be a road loss across the country in Oregon and a road loss in Happy Valley. That's like,
Yeah,
right.
those aren't easy spots.
the only thing people are going to point to if that situation comes to fruition is like they're going to point at the Nebraska matchups between Indiana and Ohio State, um, because
Yeah, but they
Indiana
play each
absolutely
other
beat
head
the
to
shit out
head.
of them.
I
Huh?
think
Yeah.
if they didn't
Yeah,
eventually play, then you could play that card.
yeah,
But the fact that they have to take the field against them,
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if Ohio State has two losses and like beats Indiana, they should get in over Indiana because Indiana would have three if they played Penn State and Oregon. They just
Yeah.
don't.
hmm,
I mean, if Indiana somehow were to beat Ohio State, like let's say it's all a hypothetical game, but if we lose and Indiana were to beat Ohio State, they would definitely have. It'd be the same as us. Like our only really significant win would have been Ohio State in our whole
Yeah.
season. But
I'm very excited for the playoff committee rankings to come out next week.
Yep.
I
Same.
heard Joel Klatt say something about this. You have to have AP rankings. I get that. Like you have to have rankings in college football. It's one of those things you have to have. But it's kind of ridiculous where his example was how has Miami been how have they done enough to be ranked however many spots, like 7 spots ahead of Indiana right now. Like
Yeah.
it's just because Miami started around there and they haven't lost. Indiana started unranked and now they haven't lost. But committee is supposed to not pay attention to any rankings, like where you started, any of that. It's supposed to be okay, starting at the end of this week, who are the best 25 teams? And
Yeah, I think when they come out with the CFP rankings, Miami, I was actually just thinking that as you're talking about it. I feel like Miami will drop so far and people are going to bitch about it. Although there's really not a fan base that I ever see of Miami. So it's not like they're going to be that
yeah,
loud.
no, that doesn't exist. I
Mm-mm.
think that they shouldn't even be mad because if they stay undefeated and win their conference, they get a bye and a top 4 seed. So it doesn't actually matter
Yeah.
where they're ranked. And if they lose a game, then they're going to be in this conversation of that's a even more fun conversation. I think is does Miami going undefeated and losing to Clemson in the ACC championship, would they get in over an LSU or Texas A&M or uh, if Texas or Georgia lose again? Like I think they definitely don't, even though they're a one loss Power
I
Four
think
team.
Florida's what they did with Florida State last year kind of shows that they wouldn't really pander to that. I think, but it's also like I know it's engagement bait, and I try not to fall for it too often. Um, these random sites that put out their playoff scenarios or projections or whatever, and I've seen a bunch with Iowa State in there, and it's kind of a similar thing. Like they're performing well against the teams that are in front of them, whatever. But it is if you gave people a truth serum and asked them legitimately, if like you throw Miami or Iowa State in, give them that bye and have them play whatever, it is a fucking joke if you think that they're anywhere near probably even like the top 10 teams in the country. So
Yeah, I mean them and BYU both undefeated.
Yeah.
yeah,
Who
it's
would have that?
ridiculous.
That was a funny thing that I saw was preseason. I was pretty much saying Oklahoma State or Utah. Utah is near the bottom of the Big 12, and Oklahoma State is last in the Big 12 right now.
Yeah. Dumpster fires. Both of them.
Yeah,
It'd be kind of funny if you could elect a team from the conference. Like let's say the team that plays spoiler that's sitting in the middle of each conference standings. Like let's just say like Vanderbilt for the SEC. Every year that there's these teams that come out of these who gives a shit areas like BYU and Iowa State. It's like let's just send there are Achilles from the movie Troy. Like send him out to fight this guy's juggernaut and see who comes back just to end the war. Like if we sent
yeah,
Vanderbilt out there, I think like the Vanderbilt team would maybe beat the shit out of both of them.
I like that. I've always thought that there should be. I know this is a logistical nightmare and it would never work, but I really like the idea of at the end of the college football season just having an open week where teams can do whatever they want. Like you can go schedule Georgia if you want, or you could schedule the Citadel, or you could take another bye if you want. Like
Yeah.
it's if you want to build your resume, you could do it. If not, you could just keep on fucking going. Choose your own adventure. I also don't think it would be a terrible idea. This is kind of builds on something I said like a month ago, almost a like a Maui Invitational type thing where you're playing the other conferences. I feel like they should leave a week open and it's just okay. 2 weeks before the playoff or whatever, the team that's currently leading the SEC and the team that's currently leading the Big Ten, they're just going to play each other. And the
Yeah,
twos are going to play, and the threes and the fours, and like those threes and those fours and those fives matchups in the better conferences, like those are all going to matter. Like they might be loser leaves town for the playoff. It might be, if the number 3 team in the Big 12 that everyone's like, well, they're probably more like 17 or 18 in the actual rankings. They go and they beat one of those teams that's like a fringe top 10 team. Maybe it pushes them in, like, all good things. It's a
Yeah,
logistical nightmare and it'll never happen, but they should do it.
yeah, it's fun to talk about.
Less cupcakes. I
Yeah.
just want less cupcakes. I can't get up for like when Penn State plays Kent State. I just like all right.
I do think that's
You get
that's one
you
good
should get
thing.
one.
Good.
Everyone can get one. Maybe two.
Well, that's I've heard people talk about that soccer fans that are like, wait, so get this about American sports, and it's like they don't have relegation, and I do think relegation is a kind of cool wrinkle, and I also get why in the pro leagues we would never ever want to have
Yeah.
that. Like, imagine you get fucking relegated, like your quarterback blows his knee out, and you get fucking relegated.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy. But I do think in college football, it's the one place where it's like, hey, Bama, you can't schedule Troy this year because they got relegated last year. They're in the league below, right? Like, you have to at least play like AAC teams or like teams like that are at least going to be. I can't even name that many anymore, actually, because they're all just latched on to the Big 12 and the
Yeah.
ACC and
At
stuff.
least go
All
play
the
like
half
App
decent teams,
State or
but
something. Or
yeah, go play
Yeah.
yeah.
USF, somebody like that.
I think they did actually.
Yeah. Fuck, that was a good
Yeah,
idea.
yeah. Good idea by them. Yeah.
People are already doing this.
Yeah, it's just less
Um,
cupcakes. It's boring. I get it, but I hate it.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
those programs that get relegated and aren't playing will get like just demolished though if they just can't tread water and get up there every couple of years like without the couple $1 million to play against them.
that's
But I
true.
don't. I also don't care. It's not my problem. I just want to watch better football. So
But they could also. It's like how like one AA has a national
Yeah.
championship.
yeah,
There should
it's like
be
the
one
NAIA
AA and quadruple A and
or
triple
not
A.
NAIA, NIT, the NIT tournament.
Yeah.
It'd be like the same thing. Yeah.
And I'm just gonna take a quick victory lap for Missouri because I
Yeah.
mean no one was against me on this, but I said all year that I
Or
don't think they're even good, and they fucking suck. They
Yeah.
suck. Should we do some NFL
Oh yeah.
here?
let's do it.
I have okay. I mentioned this in the group chat,
Give me a
and
second.
it got mentioned for a half a second, right? But the that 10 leg parlay that I told you guys about that
Yep.
ended up going 9-1. I
I
had
know.
a 10 leg money line parlay. I have the fucking. It's right
Who
next to me. Hang
lost?
on.
I believe.
Oh, fucking guess who lost? That guy over there, the fucking Dolphins.
Oh.
It was
I mean,
Falcons, Packers, Lions, Texans, Dolphins lost it. Bills, Chargers, Chiefs, Broncos, Steelers.
Whew.
Some easy ones in there, but
Imagine if the
10
Dolphins would have
games
sold
is
it and you would have like had the Commanders in there.
yeah. And they fucking lost by 1. God damn. I don't
Eric?
know.
probably good value to throw them into that parlay. Like that's probably why you got to get out
Yeah.
ahead of it, make it
It would have
early.
been
Like,
minus money without the
but
Dolphins.
if you think about it, you ran a crazy risk that the quarterback you were betting on would literally die at the first contact. Like he is. It's very dangerous that he's still playing football. And then for his first one coming back on like the third time that he was just smoked into another realm.
That is one of my Achilles heels is that's definitely a logical point, and my counter to that is that's probably not going to happen. And that's all I go off of.
Yeah.
Is that's bullshit if it happens, and I
Yeah.
got fucked over if it happens, even though there's definitely a possibility that it happens.
He just yeah, and I think I was talking with one of my other friends. Like, it
You have
is
other friends? Fuck.
crazy. That, yeah, I have so many of them elsewhere. But like, it's crazy to me when you're talking about Tua being the massive difference between our team, like a potential playoff caliber team, to one of the worst teams in the league. without him because I don't think he can win us a Super Bowl. But is it just that like he gets it, or are our backups somehow the like we must have the worst second, third, and fourth string QBs in the
I
league
think it is
because
a backup problem.
yeah, I think it's a backup problem more than that he's elite because
Squirrel
it
threw the
is
ball away
well,
on fourth down. He threw
yeah,
it out of
and
bounds.
they just like here, Devin A. Chan, like this is you have to win the game for us now. We're not going to throw it to the what was it $20-30 million receiver. We're not going to throw it to the $30 million receiver. We're not going to throw it to Jalen Waddle. We're just going to run the shit out of the ball. I don't know. It's
You know
crazy
who
to
you
me.
should have signed in the offseason who would have been a good signing for you guys? Uh,
Russell
Mason
Wilson.
Russell
Rudolph,
Wilson.
just as a backup. You wouldn't be down as bad right now if you had Mason Rudolph.
He does
That's true.
kind of.
And he's still. I also picked him up in fantasy because my quarterback situation is a shit show. But then he was as soon as he got onto my team, he's projected 0 points without an injury. Is Levis back this week or something?
I don't know. He's been kind of bad though.
Yeah,
Although I don't know if it's just he's on the Titans, but
Rudolph.
yeah.
yeah.
The
I mean, I don't expect him to be good. There's just nobody else on the fucking waiver wire. So, and I'm not giving up any more shit for anybody else. Jordan Love might play, so he might play, but he made sure he threw a fucking interception before he got hurt last week. So,
Yeah.
if I just had if I had Mason Rudolph, I would have won.
I I do have a take though about the that's true. I lost by I needed Wandale Robinson to have a 2 yard catch and I would have won my matchup. One more 2 yard catch, which is like his fucking specialty. But I do with the Dolphins with their struggles, like when they had no quarterback. McDaniel is a Shanahan disciple. Why doesn't he just do all this? Why does he just run jet sweeps and shit with Tyreek Hill and Jill?
I
Like you
don't.
have all these fucking fast guys, and you come from a guy whose whole playbook is let's run the ball with not the running back,
yeah.
and
Yeah,
they just don't do it.
it's fucking crazy. I don't know. They're almost as sad to watch before Tua came back than like the Pirates in August.
Oh, don't get me going. Just
Yeah, let's.
to get off the Pirates real quick. I know this isn't one of the games.
That was a pirate
Yeah,
segue.
this isn't one of the games. It's not like a huge game or anything. Why are the Texans 1.5 point underdogs to the Jets tomorrow night?
I was thinking the same thing, and
I already hammered
it
it.
might be the first game of the year that I don't bet.
It doesn't make
Oh,
any
you
sense.
motherfucker.
The Jets stink.
Yeah, even with I think it's because Diggs just got hurt.
Yep.
He's out
I
for the
mean,
year.
we also just beat them with one wide receiver and a worse quarterback. Like
Dude, doesn't it feel like the Jets are gonna fucking win that
it.
game?
Why are they
I kind
favored?
of want to bet on the
That's the
Jets.
only reason they should be favored is if like imagine you bet on them.
I just decided I'm
Imagine
betting
you
on the
bet on them and
Jets.
they win by one. I would lose. Like you just that.
Well, yeah. Given
That
your
is some
luck
shit that'll
just this
happen.
season, Lewis, for as soon as I saw that line, I threw a bet on it. I think I threw like 30 or 50 on it already. Like maybe bet the other side for me.
It it also feels like that's the thing about like if you were
Terrible on
to bet the
Thursday.
Jets, it feels like oh I'm betting the Jets against the Texans. I should win so much money if I get this right. But like the money line's
Right.
Yeah.
minus 130 because they're fucking favored.
That's that
Yeah.
shit that I was telling. I think it was just you and me, Corey, on an episode earlier when the Jags were 0-4,
Yeah.
and it was a winless team and they won by 3, and I bet on them and I didn't win money. It was they pushed because they were -3 against the Colts. I think. Fucking what the
Man.
fuck is that about? Okay, last week.
The
What?
I'm sorry, I'm just the
We
next
have to
game
talk
up.
about
The
this now.
Titans are 3.5 point favorites this week.
Oh, against the Patriots, right?
Yeah, but
I might hammer that.
Jesus Christ, that's
Oh my
disgusting.
god, I'm about to get gross this week. The the Saints are 7.5 point favorites against the
The
Cardinals or
Panthers.
the Panthers. No fucking way. Dude, the Saints beat anybody by 7.5. Oh, I'm gonna get in the fucking mud this week. I'm gonna get muddy. I'm
Oh,
gonna be fucking gross
I
and
don't know if
dirty.
there's
I need
anything.
to recover some.
I don't. I'm trying to find if there's anything else gross because that's fucking. Those first two games that are listed here on FanDuel are fucking disgusting.
Well, let's
Yeah.
get into ours, and then they might pop up, reveal themselves.
Yeah. So last week, Mags actually the best record, 10-6. Corey and I are both 9-7. Eric was the leader in the clubhouse, and then the worst week anyone has had so far, 4-12. I also had a 4-win week, but it was one with buys, so it was like technically better.
My defense, very busy work week, traveling to Pennsylvania. I think that I gave you my picks while walking through the airport or something. It's
Mm,
just it's a bad one. We got off the horse. We have to get back to basics, make sure we're working on the fundamentals, getting the small things right, and then we'll get back on the horse this week.
yeah. Well, I think you'll be safe considering the 3 bets that I've declared I'm going to make this week. But so yeah, overall standings, 3 of the 4 of us are profitable, which I did look that up. It's 52.3%
Who's
is
not?
the if you bet straight. I don't fucking know. Corey is back in the lead, 56.6%. I did see your worst week all year is in week 2. You went 7-9. Just a model
I'm
of
just right
consistency.
around
This guy.
500 every week. I haven't had like I think week one maybe was my best, like 11-5 or something like that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but other than that,
Yeah, two. You've had 2 11-5 weeks.
okay.
I've found that there's no incentive to win, just not to lose. So I'm just kind of
Right,
like,
but you do have to bet every game.
yeah,
But you're just maybe
yeah,
not taking risks, I guess. Although technically, based on what the spread is supposed to be, everything should be 50-50. But
yeah. I mean, if we
um,
went off the bet of everything's minus 110, just call it that. We could find out how much money we'd make if we put a unit on every game.
yeah, which I already do, so you can find out.
Yeah,
It's not
same.
good.
Yeah.
It's not good if you're 47.5%. But um, yeah, Eric 53.7%, Mags 53.3%. And for the dick picks, this is an interesting juxtaposition though. Corey is the worst, 3-4-1. I'm 4-4, Mags 4-3-1, Eric 5-3.
I've
That's how she
I
goes.
lost my last two dick picks by a combined 1 point the last 2 weeks. So that's how it's going for me right now. I believe I
Yeah.
missed a Packers. What was it? Packers Texans. I forget if it was the Packers or the total, but that missed by half a point. And I forget what I had this week, but it missed by half a point. It might have been the fucking Packers again.
It
Yeah,
was the
fuck
Packers
those
again.
motherfuckers.
3.5,
Yeah.
yeah. I had that as well.
Was that my pick?
Yes.
Yeah, by half a point.
Yeah.
Unreal.
Okay. One game that we're not going to talk about, but I have to say the stat: Bears at Cardinals. The Bears are half a game ahead of the Cardinals right now, and the Bears are last in the North, and the Cardinals are leading the West right now. So I just had to throw that one out there, but they're definitely like, what do you even talk about the Cardinals? All right, our 5 games this week. Up first, Chargers -1.5 at the Browns. The over/under is 42. I wrote that it's 42.6. It's 42.5. But if you bet 42.6, you will also win or lose the same on 42.5. But yeah, the Browns are 2-6, but this is fun because it's fucking Jameis, and this is a come to a head game for me because the Chargers are one of the very few teams this year that I have been just bet and forget. I think their only loss against the spread this year, I think before last week, was the Steelers, which I bet the Steelers because I always bet the Steelers. I think they pushed against the Chiefs and they've been a machine the rest of the year. So there's that. I also love Jameis and the Browns feeling a little frisky. getting a point and a half feels fun, but they just got their big win. They just beat the Ravens, so I'm gonna stick with the Chargers. But Browns awful loss next week, I will be on. I don't know who they play next week, but just mark it down right now. I'll bet the Browns next week, but I will bet the Chargers this week.
Yeah, I like that. I think I'm going to trail that because, well, one,
Because I'm hot
J.K.
right
Dobbins
now.
on my
They're on a
fantasy
bye
team.
next week.
Fuck. Oh, then they play the Saints.
Yeah.
Time's up.
I
The
think,
Saints. I was right about. Remember, I shit on the Saints earlier.
Yeah.
They were
yeah,
2-0 and they were killing everybody. They fucking suck.
yeah, they're
All right,
garbage.
continue.
I just think that this is kind of a fallback down to earth game for Jameis. I feel like his thing is always like comes out of the gate hot, and then people are like, "Oh wow, this is exciting." Jameis is kind of going nuts, and then it immediately goes back to exactly what you would have expected. So I like the Chargers -1.5. I do like Jameis though, so I mean I wouldn't hate to lose this one just for pure fun watching the game.
He did say that when he's making good decisions, he is a great NFL quarterback, which I do
Is
agree with.
true.
So was Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
That's true,
Then, well,
both on and off the
yeah,
court.
Jameis just doesn't see the linebacker. Deshaun Watson's a rapist.
Kind of like
Yeah.
what's his name, Brody Locke or whoever the fuck. What's Wisconsin's
Yeah.
quarterback's name?
Yeah, that was a
That was
crazy
the most.
that was
He said he saw him.
And after the game, yeah, he was like, "Yeah, I saw him," and I was like, "Really?" He wasn't moving his feet, and you hit him in the chest, and you saw him. That's like
Yeah.
Jesus. All right,
I'm kind of leaning towards the Chargers. However, just because you guys both picked them, I might end up on the Chargers. For now, I'm going to talk about the over, which is gross. 42.5.
mm-hmm.
Two teams that run the
I
ball.
don't think it's gross.
Let me throw you back to Jameis Winston. I forget what year. 35,000. That guy creates
Yeah,
points whether it's for his team or the other team. And
yeah.
I think the Chargers have an opportunistic defense. Maybe might end up betting Chargers defense anytime touchdown. That guy, that and Jameis just kind of had his like mistake-free game or like mistake minimizing
Yeah.
game. I love Jameis as well because anything could happen and anything on any given down. Forget any given Sunday, any given down, that guy can do something you've never seen before. I'm gonna go with the over. I think maybe the Chargers get a short field or two, turn it into points. Both these defenses are good, but I'll take the over. I don't know exactly what I think about the Jameis Browns right now. That's a huge win, but I don't know if we're gonna see a little letdown spot here.
Yeah. I think I'm probably gonna bet. My pick will be the Chargers. I'm probably gonna also bet the over.
It feels
I
like
do
one of
like
those like everything that you would logically think through the game would point towards the under, but makes you want to take the over
Yeah,
instead.
yeah,
Mm.
Jameis.
Yeah.
Herbie's been feeling a little too. They started throwing the ball a little bit last
Yeah.
week. Okay, up next. These two teams have the same record. The Broncos plus 9.5 at the Ravens. They're both 5-3, if you can fucking believe it. Over under is 46.5. This is a tough one for me because I went out on the limb and I bet the Broncos, the fucking Broncos, with Bo Nix at quarterback to cover 10.5, and it was maybe the easiest bet of the late slate. Or was the Lions in the late slate? I can't remember, but
No,
no,
it
it
was
wasn't.
early.
Yeah, so I have a kind of an affinity for the Broncos. I feel like they're a cover. They always get or are against a big number, but they've been delivering. The Ravens are a team that does not cover big spreads, but they did just have their jaw-dropping loss, so this might be a beat the shit out of them, out of the Broncos game. I kind of want to bet the under. It's 46.5 though. Will the Bo Nix fuck shit be good or bad? I just don't know. You guys
I
pick it. I'll go at the end. I can't fucking decide.
I'm pretty decided here. I'll throw you I'll throw you something. I don't know. I've generally like read the Ravens pretty good this year. I feel like I have a decent record betting them. I don't know. I don't know if I do or not. I just feel like I do. I feel like this is a womping. I'm on Womp Watch here
Mm.
because I think the Broncos are a fine football team. I think the Ravens like come out pissed off, and I think it could be like you saw what they did to the Bills. The Bills are, in my opinion, better than the Broncos. Um, I don't know. It feels like a womp to me, and if it's not a womp, I think the Ravens might have some unforeseen like some problems we didn't quite see when they looked like a juggernaut up until this week. Because I bet on the Browns last week. I bet against the Ravens. So I don't know. I don't know. I'm not a huge Broncos believer. I also know the Ravens tend to not cover the big spreads. I'm just gonna put my money on the Ravens because I believe in them more than the Broncos. I think off a loss, I think this could be a womp.
Yeah, I like the Womp Watch. I mean, it's kind of like a they pay those guys to play too situation with 9.5 points in the NFL, which is always
Yeah.
large. Um, but I think I like what Lewis seemed like he was teetering towards is the under. What the only thing that does scare me is your point of that like Lamar was pissed at the end of the game last week and he might want to come out and just beat the shit out of somebody. But the Broncos have a good defense. The Ravens have a good defense, and they both seem to have even though the offense on like the Ravens offense is good, they both seem like they kind of are long drive teams in a different way that like the Chargers and teams like that, and like the 49ers are long drive teams. Just, I don't know. It feels like it takes a while. And I was just, it might be a bad thing, but I split the total points in half. And I'm like, all right, both teams have to score 24 points. And I don't know if I see Bo Nix going in a dogfight against the Ravens and just, matching them score for score. So I think I like the under.
I'm just counting up Corey's.
I might be bad
You
because I got the
are
Bills game wrong and I got the Raiders game
no,
wrong.
you're not
Oh, I'm
bad.
not.
You are 6-2. Those are the only two
The
you got
Bills and
wrong.
the Raiders. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna bet the under.
Do you see
I think
Mags's text? Sorry. Go
no. What
ahead.
does it say?
Eat my fuck, Flaherty. You fucking. Is he.
Dude, that was okay. So in the group message, we've been making fun of Mags, and he all he'll say is that it's over,
Uh-huh.
and he refuses to get into it. That was at 3-0 or 3-0, and then even yesterday he was like, all right, like yeah, they're winning, but they won't let us win too. And I think that he just doesn't want to get hope again and then have us
Oh,
make fun of him when if they don't win. If they win tonight, he is carrying.
oh
It's
yeah.
game 6 of the
Oh
World
yeah.
Series.
And the I a sweep would have been too nice. I didn't want a sweep. I never wanted a sweep. The perfect thing, what I want is a Rodon implosion in game 6. That is like
Mm-hmm.
a Rodon implosion would check all my boxes because Connor's been up my fucking ass about Carlos Rodon being good all fucking year, and he sucks. And I just, the Mags misery. I'm really excited to see what that's like.
It's not as fun as you think.
But I'm gonna feel good.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
yeah. Intrinsically, it's good. He just doesn't give you what you
I
want.
know
I
he
feel like
won't.
he's somehow not super easy to bully to where it feels
He's
good.
already been doing it because he's been like the it's over thing since after like game 2.
Yep.
But I think I'm
But
just
Yeah.
never gonna stop talking about it until baseball season next year. if they
That would
lose.
be
Yeah.
fun.
All right, our third game this week. Lions minus 3.5 at the Packers. Over under 47.5. The Lions are a half a game ahead of the Packers, so whoever wins this game is leading the NFC North. I don't know if the Packers are going to win, but I am going to pick the Packers, getting 3.5 at home. I feel like the Lions are beating the absolute shit out of everybody. I don't feel like that. That is happening. That's just what's happening. Um, but I feel like division rival, the line, like Dan Campbell, low key was kind of trying to lose the Vikings game early. He went for a 4th and 7 on a terribly drawn up fake punt in his own territory early in the game. I feel like he's gonna do shit like that. Like these are the kind of games that he pulls out the stops for. It's the division rivals, and he wants to get a game here. And Dan Campbell, for as much as he's proven people wrong, and like he's not a bad coach, he is a good coach. He does take some risks, but he is definitely a good coach. It's a bridge too far to think that they're gonna like smack the Packers. I think, but I just I can't see the Packers just like sitting there and taking a beating from the Lions in Lambeau. So I'm picking the Packers. I'll probably be wrong, but I'm picking the Packers.
I don't hate that. The only thing that makes me nervous about the game, and it's because I'm a Jordan Love manager, is his health. And I don't know if we'll get the support and the backup of Malik Willis again that we did the last time. But that being said, if I'm just gonna bet it, assuming that everybody's healthy, I think I like the over. Just this feels like a fun game to just bet, like to root for a ton of points. And it being 47.5, it is like one of the higher ones, but I feel like you said, like the lines are pushing 30 like every game it feels like. So um, I think I like the over at 47.5 here. Feel
I
like a
have a
shootout.
I have a take on that, but I'm not gonna. I'm such a mush that I can't possibly say my opinion right now. So I will not do. Once this game concludes, I will tell you exactly what I was thinking in this moment. But I will save it
Like I
for
kind
then.
of want it.
You want me to just say it?
Yeah, because then how I don't think that you have the character in which you would lie about it afterwards, but like we got to hold you accountable now.
Sure. I was just gonna say it feels like such an over game. It's 47.5. This is gonna go like 46. It's gonna be dreadfully close, and it's not gonna hit. But now I've said that, and I suck. So
So
No,
I like the over as well. I might end up betting the over just because the Lions. I don't love it at 3.5. I like it. It's fine. I might just keep betting them till they lose. Till they lose
yeah.
till they don't cover or something. Like the Packers, I keep fucking betting on them and I keep losing by half a fucking point every goddamn week. So
They're gonna lose by
yeah,
4
I
this week.
don't I just it feels like a square bet. It feels like taking the Lions minus 3.5. They've fucking mollywopped everybody. They're in Lambeau. Jordan Love is playing. I think that this line makes
as
me
a
think he's playing. It would probably be like 5 or 6, maybe if he wasn't. Maybe
Yeah.
yeah.
even bigger than that. And I'd probably take the Lions at that if he wasn't playing. I don't know. The Packers have just been pissing me off lately, and the Lions have been winning me money. So I'm gonna take the Lions, and if they win by 3, which is what they're gonna do, because I'm gonna lose another fucking Packers game by half a point, one way or another. Like I'm not. There's only two options here. The Lions are winning by 3, or the Packers are winning by 4. That's the only, or the Packers are losing by 4. Sorry, that's the only two outcomes that could possibly happen. So I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna lose with the Lions. Just put my money there. I also do really like the over, which scares me because I fucking loved the Bears Commanders over last week, and that was a loser from fucking the time it kicked off.
Well, that's
Yeah.
like at least we know Jordan Love will do everything in his power to throw
Right.
one motherfucking interception. So like there's gonna be a time that makes you want to be on Lewis's side of it or Corey's side of it. Though I like the Packers to cover, it's just that he's thrown a pick in every game that he's played in. I
Yeah.
think at least one, and there's been a couple multi-pick games, and it's just like
But
hope.
Dan Campbell's going to draw up a turnover on downs in this game. So those cancel out.
Yeah, we're on turnover watch. There's going to be two ridiculous turnovers at some point. Like Dan Campbell's
Yeah.
going to be like a quadruple reverse fumbled in the backfield or something.
Yeah.
And then Jordan Love's just going to throw it up into triple coverage, like without even looking downfield from like his own 40. So
How many times will I say no fucking way in the future in reference to this game? I'd say over under set at 2.5, I think. I've also been writing the same thing as you, Corey, where I'm looking back at some of the previous weeks. I bet the Packers -5.5 against the Cardinals, which they covered, which 5.5 feels like it's a number that a team like the Packers feel like they would never cover. They're like always within a
Yeah.
score of everybody. And it felt like I was going out on a limb doing that, and it made me believe in them. And I've suffered the same
That
fate as you 2 weeks in a
that was
row of
my
half-point
I think that
losses.
was the game I bet the over and it lost by half a point. And there was some fuck shit at the end or something I don't remember.
Yeah, you're right. You do have a red
Yep.
block here. 47 and a
Yep.
half. All right. This might be the Lewis Bowl, this next game. Colts +5.5 at the Vikings. Over under 46.5. This is two teams that I have not been able to figure out at all this year. And I tried to get I did the square move of the Vikings. Betting against the Vikings was losing for me all year, and I eventually was like, okay, fine, I will start betting the Vikings, and now they can't fucking win. On the flip side, I think I've bet against the Colts every single fucking week, and I'm probably like 1-7 or 2-6 doing that. I think right now +5.5. I'm going to flip to the Colts, but this is not a square flip because the Vikings are a team that I hate anyway. I hate betting on them anyway. I think they're a solid team, but I hate betting on them. The Colts, this is a material change with Joe Flacco. I believe Joe Flacco will keep this within a touchdown, and I am going to put maybe this is probably like my second bet on the Colts all year, and I will bet the Colts. And there you have it.
well, I hate to do it, but I think I'm going to go the opposite direction. I think it's a get right. To get right, long week for the Vikings. Played Thursday night last week. I thought they were going to do well against the Rams. Long week, long time to prepare, which just like that's a long time to be able to prepare for the Colts. I do like I do like Flacco better than Anthony Richardson in this situation, but I believe in them. I think Sam Darnold. I mean, he has like he's a fine NFL quarterback, and then I think that he's going to be helped out by his offensive weapons, and their defense has been pretty good. So I think I like the Vikings -5.5. It's kind of a sleep at night bet for me.
So, I was gonna bet on the Colts, but like Lewis, you brought up, this is the Lewis Bowl of teams you haven't figured out yet. I don't think I've been great on either one of these teams, but I was gonna take the Colts, but you're on them, and this game, these two teams playing each other.
I can't be that guy. I'm not that
No, you're
fucking
not that bad.
bad.
It's just the two teams. It's just because it's the Colts
God
and the
damn it.
Vikings, who you've hated all year. I like this anyway. I'm gonna go with the over. I saw what Joe Flacco did to the Steelers defense. I don't know if the Vikings.
So you're not even betting against me. You just had to say
No,
that.
I wasn't gonna fade. No, I wasn't gonna fade you. I just wasn't. It scared me when I realized it was the Lewis Bowl. That's all. That's all. I don't know which side to pick. I'd love to. I might ride with you just in case it wins. That would be like you got it. But I also do like the over. I think Joe Flacco, this is weird to say, brings a little life into that offense. Um, Their wide receiver core is sneaky, not bad. They just like Anthony Richardson, like can't do the little things right to get them all the ball that like
Hmm.
Joe Flacco can. Where you have like Michael Pittman Jr. is a solid wide receiver. You have Alec Pierce, who's been a deep threat. Josh Downs. Josh Downs has been fucking good
He's a
when
good
Joe
player.
Flacco, especially when Joe Flacco has been playing. Josh Downs, he torched us in the Steelers game. And then, you have fucking Jonathan Taylor back there too. Um, so I think the Colts, although the Vikings do have a good defense, I think the fact that they blitz a ton and you have, a savvy vet back there, he's going to get the ball out. They're going to try to run the ball with Jonathan Taylor. I think the Colts are going to be able to put up points. I don't think their defense is great. I think the Vikings will be able to score too. 46.5, I'll take the over.
I went back and looked at my record betting on the Colts. I am 2-6. My 2 wins were an under, and I had the Jags. That was a push for me. That was a half-point win based on the numbers that we bet on, and those are my only ones. So this is though I've been trending upward. I've been I think over 500 3 weeks in a row. So this is a like is it
Yeah.
real? This is a what is it? This might be a measuring stick game against myself.
I think I think that early season stink, like you put yourself in a hole, and I think you've been fine the last few weeks. We're trending in the right
Yeah,
direction. I think 52. Would you say it has to be 52.5 or whatever to be profitable? 52%. I
yeah,
think we're headed that direction. Um, just hey, 1 week, big week here, and we're close. Big week here, and we're right there.
yeah. I'm only yeah. That's the thing is I'm 6 games below 500
Yeah.
right now. So if I go, I mean I know there's buys and everything, but just hypothetically, 3, 9, and 7 weeks in a row. That's nothing crazy, but that's back to fifty
Yeah.
percent.
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah. I think I want, if anybody but myself has to do it, it'll be funny, but I think that all of us collectively would love to see Mags get the
Yeah,
last place punishment. So maybe if at some point you catch him, we just all trail each other and hope that he doesn't notice. Unless he starts gaining on us. But then I don't know.
yeah.
I feel
Then
like
we'll need to employ, assuming it's me that's fighting with him for third place. We'll need to employ one of you guys to like really talk betting with him and say Monday night or
yeah.
whatever.
We need to want to get one of like a GoPro that like how those one man bands have a harmonica that just like sits here and they
Yeah.
go just like a GoPro that sits like that for the challenge because then it's not you see him running, eating, and then it's not explicit for the other thing. You just see
You just get the vinegar strokes.
yeah.
Yeah. I do think it would I think it would be fun to do it for the first like third of it. But I really just don't want to be because I would probably try to knock out a chunk of everything except for the running, and then I'd probably go try to do all the running with like this full of beer and just like maybe walk.
I feel like you might want to run before you get it all done. Because like think like donuts and all the beer sitting heavy in your stomach,
I think
Well, that's why
and
I
then you
would just
gotta
I
walk.
I
and
think you like wake up, spank it, eat a donut, and go for a run, and just knock that out immediately.
Well, that's the thing is you can't go for 2 runs. You got to do it
Yeah,
all in
yeah,
one.
yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
So we could send this to Mags as strategy when he definitely loses,
yeah,
even though I fucking
yeah.
suck. The other thing I remembered what I was going to say is that when Corey, you said something about Anthony Richardson last week. It was the least surprised I could ever be about someone being 2 for 15.5 was when I saw Anthony
Yep.
Richardson, and it was not
And
surprising to
it
me at
was
all.
crazy because he made like multiple fucking incredible throws in that game. And then you look at his line and
Yeah,
you're like, wait, what the fuck? What the fuck did he do for the rest of it?
I don't get benching. I get that you're like semi-competitive. You're not going to win the fucking Super Bowl with Joe Flacco. Just play Anthony Richardson.
Yeah.
All right, last game. Bucks plus 8.5 at the Chiefs. Over under 45.5. This. Oh, by the way, Colts Vikings was Sunday Night Football. This game is Monday Night Football. I'm gonna revert back to a rule that I have. When you start betting, you figure stuff out about certain teams, and it almost becomes like a rule. And I feel like that first set of rules, it's always hard to shake. The Chiefs, one of the only rules that still stands from when I first started betting, is that the Chiefs do not cover big numbers. And 8.5, although it's at home, although it's in prime time, although it's a game that I'm sure they'll find a way to win, and the entire internet will hate it. 8.5 is a lot for a Bucks team that I know they're missing a lot of guys, but they just fucking sling it. And they're
Yep.
not going to be a team where they're losing and they run, play action that doesn't work and then punt. Like they're going to go down swinging, and the Chiefs are a take your foot off the gas team. This is even if we're down 14 with 5 minutes left, as long as the Bucks have the ball, I still feel fine about it because Baker's gonna, not that he is a stat padder, but he's gonna pad those stats. If he's down 2 scores with the ball, that's a fucking touchdown waiting to happen. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna bet the Bucks.
Yeah. Exact same reasoning. I'm gonna bet the Bucks. I've liked them all year, so it's probably no surprise to all of our fans listening today. I like the Bucks a lot. Think Baker's a gamer. Bucky Irving's doing well. Rashad White looks awesome still coming out of the backfield catching passes. So they've kind of adapted to just throwing the ball to their running backs, and Sterling Shepard playing kind of okay for them.
Yeah, it's one of those that I was like, I can't believe he's getting the ball, and he's actually pretty good.
Yeah, and like they're making Kate Otten look decent too. So it's just kind of a whole thing. Yeah, they pay those guys to play football too for like the third time tonight. So Bucks plus 8.5.
Lewis, we talked about this isn't exactly a Corey Bowl. We talked about the Lewis Bowl in the last one. I don't think I've won a bet in a Chiefs game all fucking year. It feels like I haven't.
I would go check that right now, but I'm currently seeing how many weeks has Eric bet on the Bucks. That's my current side quest. And also, I'll get back to you in a second.
I feel like, and this is not, I like the Bucks, which may be not great for you guys to hear that after what I just said. And I don't even know if that's the truth. It's just what I feel like. I feel like I can't get a fucking Chiefs game right. Whether I'm betting on them, against them, a total, I can't get a fucking Chiefs game right to save my fucking life. And I know it's going to be goddamn Monday night. I'm going to fucking, probably the same as last week, I'm going to want to throw a fucking save me parlay down. And none of it's going to hit. They're not going to the Bucks are going to lose by 20. And I'm going to go to bed fucking angry because I can't win a goddamn bet in a game that the fucking Chiefs play. I just can't fucking do it. I've tried to fade them. I've tried to ride them. I've tried over, under. Doesn't matter because they gave up that fuck-ass touchdown to the goddamn Raiders last week and lost the under. Fuck those motherfuckers. I'm going to take the Bucks. I hate them. The Chiefs, I just fucking hate them right now because they're good and I lose every fucking game. So I'm going to go with the Bucks.
We're gonna get just like an awful, like, I was trying to think of like the bad beat of all bad beats, and I was trying to think of like a scenario where the Bucks are covering and like they kick a field goal with like 2.5 minutes left, down a touchdown, and the field goal gets blocked, and the Chiefs run it back, or something
Yeah.
like, or like they go for a 2 point conversion, down 2 scores or down a score, trying to do that thing where you go for 2 on the first touchdown, and then the Chiefs return that 2 point conversion and just put it to 9 or whatever it would be. So
I'll tell you what it is.
um,
It's the Bucks get the ball down 7 on like their own 10 or something like that with like 2 minutes left. Snap over Baker's head, safety. Chiefs run it out. Game over. It's just how I feel like I'm gonna lose every fucking Chiefs bet.
Okay,
Yep.
I'm still digging on this Corey Chiefs thing. Eric in 8 weeks has bet on the Bucks 6 times and has bet the over twice. So he's never bet against the Bucks. He's a true Floridian. Corey, you actually might be wrong about
Am
yourself
I?
here.
Is it just like the last two or something?
Well, while he's gone, I was my thoughts on why the Chiefs don't cover, and they're clearly the best team in the NFL the past like 5 years or whatever. Um, they seem like a heavy park the buses team, but it's kind of like what Penn State does is like they try to constrict and bleed out the clock and hope that their defense holds you to enough points that their offense can score, you know, 2 touchdowns and 2 field goals and like win the game. But the difference is that the Chiefs are actually good at it and they can do it every time because their defense is good. So they know that they're going to be able to like. I feel like Andy Reid knows he can just chew
Well,
6 minutes off if he wants
yeah,
to and go down and kick a field
they
goal.
don't like step on your throat because if you come back and go ahead by like 5 with 2 minutes left, they're just gonna go right down the field and win. And
And
like, yeah,
score.
they do it
Yeah.
every
So
fucking time. Yeah,
Yeah, so I did find it, Corey. You are 3-3-1 in Chiefs game this year, but it is a 3-game losing streak
there
right
it
now.
is. Yep,
Last 4 weeks has been lost by
yep.
losses. So it's pretty much a month's worth
Of,
of agony.
yeah, feels like longer. Feels like years.
Yeah. All right. Well, that about does it for today. If you're listening to YouTube or the audio, think about just going and drop a sub on the other one, even if you don't listen to it. Actually, still listen to it. I forget what the threshold is for accounting as a play, but just go do that until it counts, and then you can go listen to your regular method of consumption. Follow us on x.com at Picks and Parleys. We got the unsolicited dick pics. We're getting in the weeds every Saturday and Sunday. This week, my girlfriend's going to her parents' house, so I'm going to be on the fucking sticks
Hell yeah.
this weekend. Instagram also at Picks and Parleys, clips and graphics from the show. I think instead of doing a clip from the show this week, I might just post that Mags video they sent us before the show.
yeah.
And then TikTok, same deal, clips from the show, and maybe ripping some filters as we go here. We got anything else, boys?
Nope.
All right. Well, yep. Sign off time. Thank you guys so much for listening. We'll see you all next time.
See ya.